Before the dawn of the New Age, before the stars learned to whisper in the tongues of men, there was a time when humanity was not alone. They walked the same ground, breathed the same air, and looked upon the same horizons as the beings from beyond. The keepers of light, the travelers from the veiled suns, the watchers of eons. You new here? This is just Portal. Like and subscribe, and we'll drop more breathtaking review stories like this. Let's continue. Together, they built wonders that defied the heavens. Cities that hovered between clouds. Oceans that glowed with living light. Temples that resonated with the pulse of the cosmos. For in those forgotten ages, the universe was open, and the veil between realms was thin enough for the hearts of both species to touch. The humans, born of earth and flame, carried the spark of curiosity. The aliens, born of ether and light, carried the wisdom of ages. Together, they formed a covenant, to share knowledge, to sustain life, and to seek the mysteries that lay beyond the stars. It was not a time of gods and men. It was a time of kinship. The Golden Era. They called it the Era of Union. No wars, no hunger, no fear. Energy flowed freely from the crystalline towers of the seraphim. Their light channeled into every home, every field, every dream. Humans learned to cultivate energy with thought alone. Children could bend the winds with a whisper. Elders healed the sick with a touch of empathy. The beings from the stars, the Alindra, the Kathor, the Luminal, they guided the fragile hearts of men, teaching them not only how to live, but how to be. And so humanity rose, not through power, but through purpose. Earth itself seemed to breathe with them, for every mountain and river was alive. Every cloud carried memory. They say the night skies glowed brighter then, that stars were not so far away, that the earth sang in harmony with the constellations. But perfection is a fragile flame, and even the brightest light casts a shadow. The rise of curiosity. Among humans, curiosity is both gift and curse. In their pursuit to understand the alien craft, some began to question, if we can learn their secrets, why not surpass them? A thought born of wonder soon became a seed of pride, and pride, when watered by knowledge, grows into defiance. A council of human scholars, calling themselves the Solars, believed that humankind had outgrown its celestial teachers, that the union, though once sacred, had become a cage. They whispered in the shadows, why must our fate depend on those who came from the stars? Why must we share what could be ours alone? It was the beginning of the question, and the question always births the divide. The first rift. The aliens felt it first. The tremor of distrust in human thought. The flicker of doubt in human emotion. They had lived long enough to know that harmony is a melody easily broken. The Alindra tried to mend it. They offered more wisdom, more patience. They shared their archives of creation, maps of galaxies, codes of life, the very pattern of consciousness. But instead of gratitude, it fueled more hunger. The humans wanted control, to command the laws of the universe, not just understand them. The Solars built secret temples beneath the sands, where they reverse-engineered alien relics, extracted forbidden energy, and experimented with merging man and machine, flesh and light. They called it ascension, but the Alindra called it violation. The betrayal. When the Alindra learned of this, they pleaded with the High Council of Man. And the experiments. You are awakening forces you do not yet comprehend. But humanity had already tasted godhood. And once a mortal tastes infinity, he forgets humility. The Solars unleashed their creation, the Helix engine, a colossal fusion of alien ether and human matter, designed to bend time and space itself. But the engine was flawed. Its activation tore through the quantum fabric, opening rifts between worlds, corrupting ecosystems, and poisoning the resonance between species. The skies burned violet. The seas turned to mirrors of smoke, and the earth screamed, as if her soul was being split in two. The Alindra tried to contain it. They sacrificed thousands of their kind to seal the wound in reality. And though the world was saved, trust was not. The union was broken. The Great Divide begins. The Great Divide was not declared through war. It was declared through silence. The Alindra withdrew from human lands. They sealed their floating cities behind fields of light. Their voices faded from the winds. Their ships ascended beyond the veil, to the dark side of the moon, to the hidden colonies between stars. For the first time in eons, Humans were alone. The Solars celebrated. They claimed Earth as theirs. They took control of the relics left behind and proclaimed a new era, the age of sovereignty. But nature does not honor arrogance. The more humans tampered with the relics, the more unstable the Earth became. Storms swallowed continents. Magnetic poles reversed. Children were born with light in their eyes. Half human, half something else. They were called the Echoed Ones. Beings caught between two existences, neither alien nor man. A reminder of the bond once shared, and the sin that shattered it. The fading memory. Generations passed. The stories of coexistence became myths. Myths became legends. Legends became superstition. The floating cities faded into clouds. The alien archives turned to dust. And the name, Elindra, became just another word for angel. Humanity moved on, forgetting where its wisdom came from, forgetting what it had lost. Yet, not all forgot. Hidden deep in the mountains of what was once known as the Andes, a remnant order of humans, the Keepers of Dawn, guarded the last fragments of alien memory. Their archives contained the truth of the Great Divide, and among them was born a child who could hear the stars. His name was Kale. He would grow to become the bridge between what was lost and what was yet to come. Transition, the prophecy of return. There was an ancient prophecy, left by the Elindra before their departure. When the earth forgets the sound of the stars, and the hearts of men drown in the silence of pride, a child will rise, not of the heavens, nor of the soil, but of both. He will carry the memory of the light, and awaken the sleeping bond. Through him, the dawn of a new age shall begin. Kale was that child. But prophecies are not destiny. They are invitations to choose, and the choice was about to change the fate of all species. The awakening of Kale. Kale was born under a storm that sang in harmonic tones. Lightning struck the sky in rhythm, and for the first time in centuries, the constellations pulsed. His mother said his eyes glowed at birth, silver, like the reflection of distant stars. His heartbeat followed the rhythm of unknown frequencies. The elders of the Keepers whispered, "The child hears what we cannot. The cosmos speaks through him." From infancy, Kale could sense what others could not. He heard whispers in the wind, patterns of forgotten languages, melodies that carried memories of a time before the divide. He grew quickly, his mind absorbing knowledge beyond the comprehension of his teachers. While other children learned the names of rivers, Kale spoke of galaxies unseen. While others gazed at clouds, he saw the cities that once floated among them. But with great knowing came great loneliness. He often asked his mother, "Why do I feel like half of me is waiting for something?" And she would answer softly, "Because you were born to remember what the world chose to forget." The discovery. On his 17th year, Kale dreamt of a voice, ancient and soft, woven from the hum of eternity. It said, "Beneath the ruins of Solara, the heart still beats. Seek the chamber of first light. There, you will find the truth." When Kale awoke, he could still hear the echo of that voice. The ruins of Solara were forbidden, the remains of the first human city built with alien hands. Legends claimed it was cursed, that those who entered never returned. But destiny does not ask for permission. It calls and waits. Guided by dreams, Kale ventured into the wastelands. He crossed the deserts of silence, traversed mountains that shimmered with static light, until he reached the forgotten gates of Solara. The air hummed there, like a heartbeat beneath the dust. As he entered, the ruins responded, crystals flickering to life, walls shifting with recognition. He wasn't intruding. He was expected. The heart of Solara. At the center of the ancient city stood a great sphere, half buried, pulsing with faint silver light. Kale approached, and as he touched its surface, visions burst into his mind. He saw the old world, humans and Elindra working side by side. He saw the building of the great towers. He saw laughter, music, and the birth of harmony. And then he saw the divide, the betrayal, the fire, the sealing of the skies. When the vision ended, Kale fell to his knees. Tears streamed down his face, not from pain, but from remembrance. And then, the sphere spoke. "You are the echo of what was lost, the last resonance of the covenant. We waited for you." The sphere unfolded like a blooming flower, revealing a fragment of living light, a core that pulsed with alien intelligence. "I am Lyra," it said, "guardian of the covenant. Through you, the bridge can be rebuilt." The return of the Elindra. With Lyra's awakening, a signal burst from Solara, a pulse so strong it rippled across dimensions. It reached the farthest colonies of the Elindra, awakened long-dormant archives, and stirred the ancient sentinels who guarded the Veil. For the first time in millennia, the Elindra heard the song of Earth again. Across the void, their ships stirred, silent giants of light emerging from shadow. The council of the Elindra gathered. "The human flame still burns," said the elder Varen, "and the echoed one has found Lyra. The time of silence has ended." But not all among the Elindra agreed. Some feared the return. They remembered humanity's arrogance, the war, the suffering. They believed the divide must never be undone. Yet, prophecy cannot be denied. The stars themselves seemed to call Kale's name. The resistance of men. Meanwhile, far from Solara, the remnants of the solar dominion still ruled the world. Their power unchecked, their greed unending. They had long erased the true history, rewriting it into tales of divine conquest and heavenly war. To them, the aliens were demons of old myths, and any who spoke of coexistence were silenced. When word reached the Dominion that strange energies were returning, they panicked. Their instruments detected cosmic frequencies, the same kind that had once nearly torn the Earth apart. And in fear, they declared, "No alien must ever return. No bridge must be built. If the light rises again, humanity will fall." They sent their enforcers, machines built from corrupted alien technology, to hunt down the source. Their goal was simple: destroy Solara, kill the boy, and the prophecy. The flight. Kale fled with Lyra through the ruins, the walls of the ancient city collapsing behind him as the Dominion's machines arrived. Laser fire shattered the crystals, but each time Kale fell, the ruins themselves seemed to shield him. Stones shifting, light bending. Lyra whispered through his mind, "Run to the mountains of Orin. The keepers await you there. You must awaken the second seal." He didn't understand what that meant, but he obeyed. The chase lasted days. Rain turned to storms of magnetic dust, the earth itself reacting to Lyra's awakening. At last, Kale collapsed at the mouth of a vast cavern. Inside, he found symbols carved in both human and Elindra script, the language of unity. And then, a familiar voice greeted him, the Keeper's revelation. "Welcome home, Kale," said the elder of the Keepers. "We knew this day would come. The first light has awakened, and with it, your true purpose." Kale looked at them, exhausted. "What am I?" he asked. "Why do I hear them? Why can I feel the stars?" The elder smiled sadly. "You are the bridge, child. Born of human will, carrying alien essence. Your bloodline was chosen long before you took your first breath." He gestured toward the glowing runes around them. "This place is the Chamber of the Second Seal, one of 3 scattered across the world. Each holds a memory of the Covenant. When all are awakened, the Great Divide will begin to heal." Kale hesitated. "But if the divide is healed, won't the Dominion destroy us all?" The elder nodded. "They will try, but the dawn cannot be stopped once the light begins to rise." The rising of the second seal. Kale placed Lyra's core into the center of the rune circle. The cavern began to vibrate, the walls melting into streams of light. A low hum filled the air, the frequency of unity. Kale's body lifted from the ground, his veins glowing silver blue. Memories flooded his mind, of the Elindra building worlds, of humans learning the songs of creation, of peace, laughter, and the moment it all was lost. And then, stillness. Lyra spoke softly. "The second seal is awake. The bridge is forming. The stars are watching once more." Outside, the night sky shimmered with movement. The constellations realigned. The old signs of the Elindra burned bright again. The Dominion panicked. Their leaders saw the skies and screamed, "The boy has done it. He's calling them back." The shadow awakens. But there was something else. Something far darker. The divide had not only separated species, it had imprisoned something ancient. A being born from the chaos of the Helix engine. A shadow that thrived on division, feeding on fear and hatred. Its name was Xyrath. And when Kale reawakened the second seal, the energy rippled through all dimensions, weakening the barrier that held Xyrath at bay. In the abyss between worlds, it stirred, and it whispered, "The dawn shall be mine." The war for the dawn begins. The world trembled. The skies bled silver light as if the heavens themselves were remembering something they long had buried. The Dominion declared martial control over all nations. Every voice that spoke of peace with the stars was silenced. Every city turned its eyes to the sky, some in awe, most in fear. And from the void, the Alindra ships appeared once more. Not as conquerors, not as gods, but as old friends returning home to a planet that no longer remembered their faces. Their arrival split humanity in two, those who believed the prophecy, and those who swore it was the end of days. The Dominion saw only threat. Their weapons pointed skyward. Their leaders screamed across the airwaves. Extinction is upon us. Defend Earth from the invaders. But it wasn't invasion. It was reunion. The meeting at Orin's Peak. Kale stood at the summit of Orin's Peak, the mountains now glowing with ancient energy. Lightning spiraled around him, and above, an Alindra vessel descended slowly, like a sun wrapped in crystal light. When the gates opened, 3 figures emerged. Tall, luminous, ageless. Their eyes shimmered with galaxies. Their presence was peace itself. One step forward, Elder Varen. His voice was both whisper and thunder. Kale of Earth, we have waited for you since the last light faded. The seals you awaken are the bridges of our covenant. But beware, the shadow stirs once more. Kale knelt, unsure whether from reverence or fear. I didn't mean to bring war, he said. I only wanted to heal what was broken. Varen smiled gently. To heal, one must open the wound. And the world is bleeding again, because truth has returned. The Dominion strikes. Before the meeting could end, the sky erupted with fire. Dominion warships, cloaked in false sanctity, rained plasma upon the mountain. The Alindra shields rose in an instant, shimmering arcs of light protecting the summit. But below, the earth shook. Villages burned. Men fought men, blinded by lies, fueled by fear. Kale screamed. They don't understand. Varen placed a hand upon his shoulder. They understand perfectly, child. They fear what they cannot control. From within the chaos, Lyra's voice cut through. The third seal lies beneath the ocean's heart, where the helix first tore the sky. If we do not awaken it, the shadow will rise and consume all. Kale turned to Varen. Then we go. Varen nodded. Then you lead. The journey to the abyss. With the Alindra's help, Kale and a small group of keepers journeyed to the Lost Sea. Once the cradle of the helix engine, now a dead ocean known as the Hollow Deep. There, waves no longer sang. The air was silent, heavy with magnetic ghosts. Kale stared into the endless black waters. This is where it all began, Lyra whispered, where creation and corruption danced as one. They dove into the depths, protected by Alindra light, descending through ruins of machines that once touched the stars. At the ocean floor, they found it, a massive gate of stone and energy intertwined, sealed by both human code and alien sigil. Kale approached it slowly. This is the third seal. Lyra glowed brighter. Once opened, there is no return. The divide will end, but so too will the age of separation. You must be certain. Kale breathed deeply. I was born for this. The awakening of the third seal. He placed his hands upon the gate. Energy surged through him. Every cell, every memory, every ancestral echo igniting at once. Visions flooded his mind. The Alindra's sorrow as they left. Humanity's arrogance. The weeping of the earth. And a voice beyond all others. The voice of Zyrith. I was born from your sin, it said. I am the wound. The darkness you buried when you severed the light. And now I rise to remind you what you are. The gate cracked. The sea boiled. And from the abyss, a shape emerged. Vast, formless, a storm of shadows and echoes. The shadow had no body, for it was not a creature. It was division itself. The shadow unleashed. Zyrith's presence spread like infection. Every mind that held hatred or fear began to twist. Nations turned on each other. Brothers betrayed brothers. Even the Alindra felt the corruption tearing through the resonance. The sky dimmed. The stars vanished behind a storm of black fire. Kale floated above the churning sea, his voice trembling. What are you? I am you, the shadow replied. I am every whisper that said we are not the same. I am every wall you built to hide your fear. I am the divide. The realization struck him like lightning. The divide was never merely between species. It was within the hearts of all. The final choice. Varen appeared beside him, his light flickering. Kale, if Zyrith consumes the seals, it will devour both worlds. You must close the rift, even if it costs everything. Kale hesitated. If I seal it, will the Alindra vanish again? Varen's voice softened. Perhaps. But if you don't, there will be no dawn left to see. Kale looked to the storm, to the screaming horizon, to the faces of men and aliens alike, to the hope that still flickered like stars drowning in night. Then he spoke. No more divides. No more fear. He reached within himself, merging his consciousness with Lyra's core. Their lights intertwined, human and alien, thought and code, flesh and energy. For a moment, Kale became both, and through him, the world remembered the song of unity. From his heart, a pulse spread across the planet, a frequency older than time, the original song of creation. It resonated in mountains, oceans, and every living soul. Humans dropped their weapons, their minds flooded with memories of harmony. The Alindra's light grew brighter, their voices joining in the ancient hymn. Even Xyrath paused. The shadow trembled as the song pierced its essence, showing it what it had once been. Light, before it was broken. Kale whispered, "You are not my enemy. You are my reflection." And he embraced the shadow. The world exploded in silence. The sacrifice. When the light cleared, the storm was gone. The seas were calm. But Kale was no longer there. Lyra's voice echoed faintly through the winds. He became the bridge. He became the dawn. The seals merged, forming a single pulse at the Earth's core, a new equilibrium between realms. Varen bowed his head. The prophecy is fulfilled. The dawn is not a time, it is a soul, the return of the light. As the centuries passed, the Earth healed. The Alindra, now dwelling openly among men, taught once more, not as masters, but as partners. Children were born with silver in their eyes, not half-breeds, not aliens, but harmonies of both worlds. And above them, a new star appeared in the sky, brighter than any other. The keepers called it Kale's star. It shone every night before dawn, a reminder that unity is not given, but chosen. Again and again, the silence after the storm. The world stood still. For the first time in countless ages, there was silence. Not the silence of despair, but the silence that comes before rebirth. The seas no longer raged. The skies, once torn by the divide, shimmered with soft auroras of living color. Forests bloomed where ash once lay. The earth, breathing deeply, began to heal herself. The old world had ended, and yet, something new had begun. The age of domination was gone. The age of remembrance had dawned. The age of resonance. Years passed. Decades folded into centuries. And with them rose a new civilization. Not built on power, but on resonance. The Alindra and humans lived side by side. Their knowledge combined. Their languages merged into a single tongue of energy and sound. The resonant speech. With it, thought became creation. Emotion became architecture. Cities of light rose again, not as monuments of pride, but as sanctuaries of balance. Children born in this age were taught the way of harmony, to speak truth into being, to feel the song of all things, and to never forget the bridge that one soul built between worlds. They called themselves the children of Kale, the legacy of Kale. Though Kale's body was gone, his essence was not lost. He existed in the frequency that bound all life together, in the pulse of the earth, in the shimmer of the stars, in every breath drawn between peace and purpose. Whenever a child looked to the morning light and felt warmth within, that was Kale. Whenever two hearts forgave each other and reached across the void, that was Kale. He became not a man, but a melody, the melody of dawn, the teachings of the star. The keepers of dawn, now elders of the new world, preserved his words, spoken before he vanished. Light is not a weapon, it is remembrance. Darkness is not evil, it is the silence we have yet to understand. The cosmos is not above us, nor beyond us. It is within. When we listen to each other without fear, the stars remember our names. Every generation would gather once a year beneath Kale's star. They would sing the first song, the very resonance he unleashed upon the world, a song that echoed across galaxies, reminding all life that unity is the truest form of survival, the return of the wanderers. And in time, others came. From the farthest constellations, ships of light descended upon the rejuvenated earth. They were not Alindra. They were not human. They were travelers, curious, gentle, bearing gifts of unknown matter and thought. The universe had heard the song of reconciliation, and it had answered. The earth became a sanctuary, a meeting point for civilizations across time and light. The planet, once divided by fear, now became the heart of a galactic covenant. Its new name, Orion's Haven, and upon its mountains stood a great monument. A single figure, hands raised toward the sky, half human, half Alindra, woven from silver light. Beneath it were inscribed the final words of the Covenant of Dawn. We were many. We became one. And in unity, we found the dawn, the whisper of the eternal. 1,000 years passed. Empires rose and fell again. Technology reached beyond galaxies. But the memory of Kale remained eternal. For in every civilization, the shadow of division still lingered, waiting, watching, whispering. Yet so long as Kale's star shone in the morning sky, the people remembered the choice that once saved existence, to embrace the shadow, not to destroy it. The wise among them taught that the great divide was not evil. It was necessary, because even in separation, life learns the meaning of unity. And so, before each dawn, the priests of resonance would speak the ancient creed. There was a time before the dawn, when light feared shadow, and shadow envied light, until one heart bridged them both. Remember him not as savior, but as mirror, for the dawn lives within you. The eternal dawn, the last keeper, old and gentle as the wind, once stood beneath the great monument at twilight. A child beside him asked, "Do you think Kale will ever return?" The keeper smiled. He never left. He pointed to the horizon, where the first light of morning began to break, painting the world in gold and silver hues. "Every dawn you see," he said, "is Kale waking within us. Every morning is his breath reborn." The child closed her eyes, listening to the hum of the world, the same hum Kale once heard before the divide. And as the sun rose fully, the earth sang again, not in words, but in the timeless rhythm of unity. Light and shadow, man and alien, earth and stars, together once more. Before the dawn, there was silence. After the dawn, there was life. And so it was written in the chronicles of the New Age, that once, long before memory, two species walked as one. They lost each other to fear, but found eternity in forgiveness. Our story became legend. Their legend became light. And light, when remembered, never truly fades. This is not the end. It is the beginning of the New Age.